What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Doing another one of those series of how do you make sure to do enough to get all the milestones done. I did a bunch of these with Namor back in the day, Ghost Rider. Kind of the ability to plan ahead so that you know exactly what you need to do to be able to max those milestones. And obviously, as more and more of us are becoming free to play, I thought this was even more important to get out. But because you got to get those shards, right? You want to get those players if you want to say, hey, I want to use this guy. Now, again, resource. You know what? That's not this video. Let's just focus on the milestones, shall we? So, anyway, we're going to do some of that lovely spreadsheet stuff. How are we going to get Cyclops? We're going to kind of look at, you know, what we can get from one of the... There's like 2 mini events, I'll call them, that you can kind of do to Blitz and get orbs, and opening the orbs gets you some things. And you know, how much blitzing do you need to do? How many rotations do you need to do? How many wins do you need to do? And that's really what we're gonna kind of boil this down to. And spoiler alert, you're gonna have to blitz a lot. So you probably already knew that. It's pretty consistent from before, but let's look at the specifics in a wonderful spreadsheet.
Bring me WolverThor!
No, thank you. Alright, so we've got these milestones in the game. I'm sure you guys have seen these. I'll just flip through these real quick. We've got the Heartbreaker one here, and we've got the Beloved Battles. The Heartbreaker one, this, if I remember right, yep, is just opening a Ruby Heart Orb. What you get 143 points per opening. And we're going to go through how you actually get those orbs. You can see you can get a number of gear here. There's a bunch of points. Get the Cyclops orbs, and hey, look at this! Some mini uniques once you really get down here. So this is pretty sexy. You know, we want these things. I know. I mean, God knows we need a ton more of these things, but especially depending who you're going to try to bring into Dark Dimension 3. But you can kind of see these are you know, pretty rare to get that high. You know, mutants. I got a little bit more, but only because I haven't T14 or Gear 14 these guys. So anyway, that's the Heartbreaker milestone, and you're really wanting to see those T4 or those mini uniques, which you need to get to T14, and then obviously you want the Cyclops shards as much as you can to try to get the unlock, and the extra purple gear is always appreciated. And what is this? Milestone orbs? Yeah. So we get some milestone orbs, and then the Beloved Battles. This is the one where you are actually fighting in Blitz, if I'm remembering correctly. So it says win a battle with a Valentine character, win a battle in Blitz, and you get these different milestones. So this is really about this should be pretty easy to max. We'll talk about these orbs contributing to the other milestone, because that's really what it's about. But this one you should generally complete pretty easily, so I wouldn't stress out too much about this one. I'm guessing you're gonna hit it out of the park on this. You know, and again, Valentine's characters, I don't want you. So Valentine's characters, you just come into your roster. Nope, I don't want you. You come into your roster selection here, scroll all the way to the bottom, and you find Valentine. And you can kind of see. Now, I would personally love, and I've talked to Fox Next about this a little bit, to have a little kind of like icon next to these characters' heads, with maybe in this case a heart with the jack-o'-lantern event, maybe a pumpkin. So that way you can kind of know specifically where I want to see that icon at is when you're in here and you got them either both on this screen as well as, more importantly, on this screen. So when I scroll through here, anybody who's, you know, a Valentine or special character, special event character, you're gonna get a little heart next to their head somewhere. So I know, oh, hey, I've got to use that person for this. Otherwise, you got to kind of flip back and forth, reconstruct your teams, etc., etc. So anyway, so those are the couple events. I'm gonna now dive into the spreadsheet to really show about specifically how much do you need to blitz to get this one. And again, I mentioned in the intro, it's a lot, you know, because people are going to be interested in trying to get these mini uniques, and rightfully so. You need them to get into Dark Dimension 3. You need them to get into T14, which is a pretty good jump in gear, or power levels, however you want to stats. So anyway, let's go look at that spreadsheet. Okay, so this is a spreadsheet. I'll zoom in a second, but generally speaking, we've got the milestones here. This is the Heartbreaker event. Total shards you get through here, the points needed, how many orbs are required to meet that specific spot, and then the fragments you need to open that many orbs. And then these columns here are about, well, okay, if you look at the Blitz milestones, when you collect those milestones, you can get a total of 4,000 fragments, which is basically 2 additional orbs. So I'm taking those into account. Typically, we don't get those for the Sunday orb events, so I'm assuming at this point, and this is just an assumption, if we lose out on these, it means you need more, is that we'll get it for this Vision one, we'll get it for the Monday Blitz, and we'll get it for the next Thursday Blitz. So we've got 3 total blitzes, which gives us 12,000 additional fragments. Then I get to an adjusted orb fragments required for these orbs, how many of Blitz wins you needed based on some other blah, 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 blah. So anyway, we're going to eventually get down to how much, how many wins we think we need starting from day 1, and then kind of look at how many hours a day you need to Blitz, or how many rotations you need, and how many wins, etc. And then down here is the beloved Blitz item. And again, we're not going to spend a lot of time on this one other than saying exactly how it impacts the one above. So let's actually start with this one, the beloved battle. So there's 15 milestones. You get the shards in these milestones. That's great. You know, it's kind of like, okay, the total points needed for those, the total frags awarded through this milestone, and then the total ruby heart orbs through this milestone. Essentially, you get 13 if you finish these. Okay, so that you want to factor in to your other calculations for how much you blitz, and we'll go over that a little bit. Points per win with a Valentine. I'm just doing the 21 as if there's one on the tune. These points can, you know, vary a little bit here. It really just matters with, you know, this here, and again, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this particular spreadsheet because I think pretty much everyone's going to hit this. You don't have to spend a lot of time doing it. I think I'm already, let's see here, I got it in the background, but as I'm looking at this, I've done my rotations for the first day, and I am already so one day in, I'm already at milestone 7, or approaching the end of milestone 7 out of 15. So there's really not much point in looking at this other than knowing you're going to get 13 ruby heart orbs through this milestone. All right, so the other part I want to show is this potential frags from the Blitz wins. So this is not, I don't know these for a fact, the stats are not listed in the game, but I'm using the same ones I used before. Talking to some people, we seem to think the same thing. So when you win a Blitz battle, there's a little icon that shows up that looks like 3 little hearts that are the fragments for these ruby heart orbs. What I'm seeing so far for me is just a lot of 50s and 100s. Last time you could, or in these other events, you could get up to 2,000, which is a full orb. You could get 1,000, 450, 400, 200. So we did a weighted percentage, exactly figured out the essential total average fragments you could get from a Blitz, and it's 105. So we're using that 105 per Blitz win as a general baseline for figuring out some of these calcs. So if you're wondering, well, how do you know how many frags you're gonna get per win? It's based on this math here. Obviously with RNG, it could sway one way or another, but weighted averages, let's just roll with it. So let's go look at the actual huge milestone list. All right, so this was the Heartbreaker. Again, I mentioned that, you know, there are 30 milestones here. Zoom in, or these last, 5 are really where you get the minis. That's what you want. You can get a total of 100 shards of Cyclops here. That's what you want. Total points needed for those. Okay, that's fine. Orbs required to meet the milestone. So this is really about, again, you get 143 points per Ruby Heart opening. I mentioned that that's what it shows in the game. So what this formula here is doing, the points needed divided by the points per orb. So you can see you need 75 orbs to essentially get down to this 30. I'm going to zoom out slightly more here. So you need the 75 orbs to get to the final milestone here, and then it's like, so how many fragments do you need to get that? Okay, so it's basically that times 2,000, because you need 2,000 fragments to open, or 2,000 fragments constitute one orb. So it's 150k. As I mentioned, these columns here are taking into account that you're going to get 4,000 fragments from the milestones in Blitz. So for those, milestones in Chill, you're getting these from doing those milestones. So it's 4,000 in all of the milestones together. So I'm subtracting 4,000 from this total, and I'm assuming it's for this Vision Blitz, for whoever's on Monday, and for whoever's on next Thursday. Because typically we don't get those in the Sunday orb blitzes. So then that's a total of 12,000 throughout this 10-day event, which is an adjusted Ruby Heart orb fragments required. Okay, so again, this is then, so I've taken the overall Ruby Heart orb fragments needed to get this many 75 orbs, which is what you need to finish this event, and subtracted the 12 you get. So so you get a total adjusted Ruby Heart orb fragments required of 138,000, or just over that. So then it's talking about the number of Blitz wins needed. So that's where I'm talking about. So that divided by this 105. So if you need 138,000 orb fragments and you're averaging 105 per win, that's when you're like, okay, well, I need 1,318 Blitz wins over the course of this event. Feels like a lot. Like, that's a lot of blitzing. And this is exactly kind of the same thing. If you've seen this video before when I did Namor, same general concept. It's like, that's a lot of blitzing. I've also done some needed wins from the last milestone. That's if you're ever really looking at this, maybe later down, I'm like, well, I need 120. How many, do I need left, et cetera, et cetera. So on the side here, what I've done is, to the day I'm shooting this, it's February 13th, the day before Valentine's Day. It's a 10-day event. We've got essentially, it's 9 days and, probably 10-ish hours still. So throw the 10 hours in there. But, and then I've shown, if you're looking at this a couple days later and then with 4 days left. And what we're doing here is we're showing the number of Blitz wins needed per day as of this particular time. So, as of today, if I want to get to this 11 milestone, I basically need to average 4 Blitz wins a day. And when I'm looking at this, it's this number, right, divided by number of Blitz wins needed, divided by the number of days left. Pretty simple math there, right? So it's like I only need 4. Now, what we really care about is, and we'll get to this green here in a second, okay? If you want to finish without factoring anything else in, you're talking about 146 Blitz wins per day starting today. So it's like, holy cow, that's a lot. But it gets slightly lowered from like what we said before. Let's jump back over to this Beloved Battles, where you get 13 orbs from this. So if we jump back, so again, in the Beloved Battles milestone event, whatever you want to call it, you're getting 13 Ruby Heart orbs. So when I said earlier, orbs required to meet the milestone of milestone 30 is 75, you can take 13 off of that. So if you're looking there, you're really, in this general range here. And that's kind of where I have these green things where it's like you really want to settle in around this range depending on some RNG, assuming you're going to get those 13, right? So in 9 days, you want to average somewhere, or you want to make sure to get, to be safe, I'm just going to say for myself 132, right? So then it's like, okay, so I need 132 Blitz wins a day. What do I need to do during the day to do that? That's clearly the next obvious step. We'll Blitz all day, right? Okay. So let's look at that, and that's the summation. And that's really where this thing comes down to, right? So rotation / wins needed per day. I'm assuming a 16-hour day to be awake. I think that's generally reasonable. You could probably argue, well, I'm not blitzing every hour I'm awake. I'm eating breakfast. I'm doing it. I get it. So just bear with me here. Your Blitz cooldown, I put it at an hour and 45 minutes. For me, it could be a little less. Some it might be more, but I just settled on that number. So then you get your potential Blitz rotations within that 16-hour day. So you're talking about essentially 9 Blitz rotations a day, which is quite a bit. And then it's about, okay, so it's about the wins in the rotation. So you're looking at how many wins you need, and it's this 132 up here, divided by how many rotations you're doing a day. So wins needed per rotation is 14. Okay, and that's a lot. So if you're talking about 14 wins, let's look at how many teams I'm even running a Blitz right now. I wish these had numbers next to them. So you've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I've got 15 up through defenders if I'm running that. And those are essentially all my Valentine's tunes. Just making sure they're still there. If I wanted to, I could do 16, 17, 18, you know, essentially 19 teams if I really, really wanted to. So it's a lot of teams, but it's definitely possible. So again, I'm running about 15 teams. I need 14. So again, I'd have to win every time. Okay, that's when you're factoring, well, wait a minute, I don't win all the time on, you know, 8.3 or so, wherever you're at. So, and this is the culmination of this whole thing for me, is one, you need to blitz a lot. You need 14 wins a rotation. You need to be doing 9 rotations a day. You need to be on it. You need to be setting timers. You need to be doing this. If you want to hit this, you got to get really lucky with some RNG, or you got to set some timers. And, you know, sometimes that's what you got to do to get some of these characters. You know, it just depends. For me, personally, what I'm about to tell you, I think is going to make it easier so you can do it throughout the day. And you probably already know what I'm going to say because it's not a super secret. Lose. Just lose. So what I mean by that is you've got a certain number of teams that aren't on that top 14 or 15 that you need to get, or top 16. So, if you don't need, and honestly, like, you can farm vision. If you really want to get these Cyclops milestones and you really want to get these mini uniques, my recommendation is get your milestones done and then go back to your, you know, Trash Hydra, whatever that you're not using to blitz your Ravage or Stitcher teams, and do the auto lose. Get all the way back down to tier 1 and then get the teams that you're using and auto win. You don't even have to look at it. From 1 through 5, with the teams that you actually care about blitzing that you normally use at tier 8, you can, I almost guarantee, I mean, I haven't lost yet doing it. You just auto. You don't even, you pick a team, you auto. Pick a team, you auto. Pick a team, you auto. And then once you get to about 5 again, you just, if you're done with your rotation, before you start your next rotation, you lose. You lose to drop back down to 1 and rinse and repeat. And with the button of lose battle automatically, you can do it instantly. You don't have to click auto. You just, you know, and a Fox next to is a bone on that one, right? Specifically for an event like this, where you just go up there, you click that 3 lines up in the upper left, and it'll tell you quit battle, and then it'll say retreat or lose battle. Lose battle so that you can actually drop down. So that's the way I'm going to approach it. I think that that's the best way to really finish these milestones. So again, a lot of blitzing. You got to hit it hard. You got to do it often. Set those timers, and then lose. Lose with the teams to drop tiers, because that's how you're going to make sure that you win the battles and you kind of guarantee some of those frags. And then hopefully you get some good RNG, you get some 2,000 drops, some 1,000 drops to help bring, you know, the amount you need down. So anyway, I hope this video helped. You know, I try to do these whenever these type of things come out so you can properly plan, you know, especially with us, you know, being more free to play these days. You know, I think this is even more critical so that you can make sure that you can get, you know, Cyclops. And by the way, before I forget, one thing you're probably wondering, well, how far can I get with Cyclops on this? So you're getting 160 of these shards just from finishing the milestones. Potential shards from the Ruby Heart Orbs. So it's basically, we're looking at, you know, 75 orbs plus 13. I did times 2, you know, hoping on average you get 2 shards of Cyclops a turn. That might be high, it could be low, but essentially that'll give you about 336 total shards, which should safely get you into the 5-star range, which is pretty good. So if you do these things, get some lucky drops, you're gonna have a 5-star Cyclops. That's pretty nice, you know. And you're not buying anything, you're just playing the game. So anyway, I hope this video helped. As always, hammer down on that like button, the notification bell, share with your alliances, you know, swing by the Discord, link's gonna be in the description below. And as always, I hope you guys have a fantastic day.